Okay, so above 2 is where we start to consider it childhood, up to prepubescence. And so really the family is the most important in this phase of life in developing their motor development and their social development and their choices for participating in physical activity. So, if you think about a regular household, and so the mom and the dad are, they're either for physical activity and they model that, or they're not for physical activity and they model sitting on the couch. And that highly reflects what the kid is going to do. The kid is going to copy mom and dad. So if mom and dad are going out for a run every morning, then they're probably going with them. If mom and dad are taking them out in the backyard to play ball or kick the soccer ball around or climb on the slide, then they're more likely to be participate in physical activity and sport. And specifically, studies have shown that the father often is the modeler for sports behavior, whereas the mother is the one that supports choices. And I really think that's changing. I don't think that's going to be the same forever, because we have the traditional family isn't. It's just not as present anymore. Even in the traditional family, even in like father, mother, child type of structure of family, you don't have, like, the mom's not staying at home anymore. The mom's working too, or the dad's at home, or maybe both are working. And so that really plays into how the parents are impacting the child's choices as well. And within that, the same gender parent is so if the daughter is most influenced by the mother and the son is more influenced by the father in their choices. So if mom's really active, that might be really helpful for the daughter. But if dad's going to sit at home, the son wants to be like dad, so he's going to sit on the couch with dad instead of going out, and vice versa. So it makes a big difference. And with the family is the environment. So the family chooses where they live, and where you live is really determined on what you participate in, right? If there are programs in the area, if there are city recreation programs, you're more likely to participate in sport from a young age. If there's not, then there's nothing for you to participate in. Like, it really is just your options at that point. And then, if you're in a bigger area, how far is it? What's the cost? Is that affordable? And that's not just participating in the sport, but you also have uniforms, you have keeping up with shoes and supplies and balls and travel and food costs for going to the tournaments. And so all of that is kind of plays into all of that. So if it's something that you can walk to, the kid's really, really likely to go to. Is it a safe area? Is the equipment safe? Are the coaches trained? All of those things kind of play into the environment. Right, and then even in childhood is where play becomes really big. So we talked about, in infancy, they're really asocial. As they get older, they become more and more social. I'll talk about that in a second. And so their development of play and their understanding of what play is really impacts social and motor development. And so there's different types of play. So if you see here, we're comparing and contrasting exploratory play and pretend play. So in the two pictures, both kids are in a box. In exploratory play, he's just kind of wiggling around. Can I fit in here? Can I tump it over? Do the flaps move? What is it? What does it do? What can I do with it? It's really exploratory play. In pretend play, you can see, like, she's made it into a car. She has her little pretend steering wheel. So she's making the box into something else, right? In her imagination, the box is a car, and that is the definition of pretend play. And then object play and interpersonal play, I think these are really the two easiest to understand. So object play means that they're playing with things. So in the picture, he has a car. It could be any kind of toy or anything at all. It really doesn't have to be a toy. My kid likes to run around with the remote control and bang it on things. So maybe that's my toy. You could consider it what you want. In our personal play, and see, I see the word person is highlighted in that. And that's just what it is me playing with another person, or my kid playing with another kid. So object play with objects is the focus, and interpersonal play is with other people. And obviously, sometimes it can be both, right? We can play with other people and objects at the same time. And then so even up to 2.5, they're still really just doing their own thing. At 2.5 to 3.5, they might be, and look at the L's in the parallel. So the two beside each other, going in the same direction, but not really interacting at all. And that's kind of what I see there. So 2.5 to 3.5 parallel. So they're beside each other, but not interacting. So they may be both playing with cars, but what one does has no impact on what the other kid does at all. 3.5 to 4.5 is associative play. So they may associate a little bit. They may exchange toys, but they're just playing in the same space, maybe even with the same toys or changing toys from time to time, but their goal is not the same. They're just still doing their own thing with similar toys in similar space. And so it's by 4.5 to 5 that they start to actually, hey, let's do this together. And they're actually communicating about how they're going to play and what rules they're going to play by and what toys they're going to use. And so they're collaborating a little bit more. And so the third phase of childhood influences on social and motor development is the school, right? Especially once kindergarten, if they're going to a public or private school, then the school is going to be a really big impact on their life. They spend a good amount of time there. And so their teachers and coaches' attitudes toward physical activity is going to impact their participation, right? If they have a coach that's really wanting them to play a sport, they're probably going to play. If the coach is kind of mean to them or teasing them, then they might not want to play. And that gives them a bad taste in their mouth about sports. So, and then recess is really important, right? We got to get out of the classroom and give them opportunity to play during the day, use their energy and use all the skills that they're learning in school to organize activities, to problem solve, to communicate. It's really big for them. So make sure you push for physical education and recess in schools. And in this time frame is when they start to learn what is boy sports and what is girl sports, and what a boy is supposed to act like and what a girl is supposed to act like. And so that really defines whether they participate in sport as well. And I wasn't sure where that fit into family or play or school. I think it's kind of a mixture of all of those influences that helps them decide that. And we're actually, this is a Lego letter that was sent out in the 70s, I think. It was a really long time ago, it surprised me. But even then, so I was just talking about, don't worry about what your kid is creating or whether it's a boy creation or a girl-like creation. Just let them create. And I think that's important for us to understand is we shouldn't be so worried about whether a boy's playing a boy sport or a girl sport, or whether a girl's playing a boy sport or a girl sport. Just let them play. As long as they're moving, then we're successful, right? We want them to be moving. We want them to be active, improving their fitness, and that should be the main goal. But we need to understand that there's social context to that, and you're going to get pushback. And with that, we're going to do a lab with this unit, and that's really what it's looking at, is how does socialism play into the choices that kids make about sports. And you'll look at sports equipment and how it's marketed. You'll look at commercials. You'll look at magazines and how guys and girls are portrayed with toys, with sports, and all of that really makes a difference in the choices that we make. And you may not have even realized it. It may have been just totally subconscious. But if you think about it, if you go like a typical guy, it may not be every guy, and again, this is always changing, but a typical guy is going to go, he's not going to pick up the pink and purple sparkly glittery football. He's going to say that's for girls. And then he's going to go get the manly looking one, right? And so how we market our equipment is definitely impacting how kids decide what they're supposed to participate in, right? If there's no pink sparkly footballs, girls think, I shouldn't play. So it's a big deal. And again, that's an extreme example, but you get the point. Right? And so like the people around us, whether it's our family, our peers, our teachers, they are all teaching us what the norm is, what the expectation is for our gender role. And so that again, that just impacts the sports that we choose and whether we participate or not.